Alrighty, so hello ladies and gents. Let me take a sip of water. Okay, so this is a continuation of the basic factoring techniques series. I've cleaned up the board. Hopefully it looks different. I mean, it looks cleaner. Yeah, well, we're going to be tackling this function up here with this factoring technique using the quadratic formula. Okay, and you can use this formula for any quadratic function with the form, as above, for as long as your a term is not equal to 0. Okay, if your a term is not equal to 0, then you can use this. Yeah, I mean, every function that's been shown so far, you could use this. You could just learn this one and you'd be good. But yeah. So some of the other ones, like they took like half an hour, 10 minutes to explain. But those other ones for expressions that aren't that crazy, I mean, you can knock them out in a couple minutes, 1 or 2 minutes using those. This is for, if you use, I mean, you can use it on them, right? You can use this formula on those. Perhaps it might be overkill. I mean, I don't know. At this point, you have various ways of making sure that you're factoring your things right. And now there's this new way, right? This one comes in that there are specific types of quadratic equations that you just can't factor using the AC or the factor by grouping method, or it's either you probably can, but it's too hard, or perhaps you've been doing math all day and you're brain dead, so you just want to plug and chug something and get an answer. This is it. All right, so yeah, let's just go through this equation, right? Because at this point we know. Okay, let me just write up here, right? We know that ax squared plus bx plus c, right? We know that our a for this function would be, you know what? Let's write. So our a for this function would be a 1. Right? You know why it's a 1, right? Because when you have a variable by itself, or a squared or a cube, you imply, it's implied that in front of it there's a 1. Okay? So your a is going to be a 1. All right? Now your b, okay? What is your b term? Well, your b term is -2. All right. Yeah, it's the coefficient. Okay, your a and your b terms are going to be the coefficients right in front of the variable. So like your constant, your numbers right in front of your variables, and it's going to include whether they're positive or negative. Okay, so it's going to be -2. All right. Am I recording? Yes, I am. Testing. Okay, yep. And then what your c is going to be -5. Okay. Okay, so we have our a, we have our b, and we have our c terms. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put these off to this little corner right here. Okay. A equals 1, b equals -2, and c equals -5. Is that visible over there? Is that? Yes, it is. Okay. Let's clear this up. This middle area here. Okay. Alrighty. So now we are going to look at this equation. So here, this entire equation looks normal except this part. Okay, it's got a plus and minus. What this means is that you're going to take this equation is going to separate into two, x1, okay, and then x2. All right, and you're going to write it the same, except you're going to choose whether it's going to be positive or negative. So maybe like negative b. I'm going to choose it to be positive. Okay, b squared minus 4ac. Okay, and then 2a. And then for this one, I'm going to write the same thing, except because I chose this one to be positive, I'm going to make this one negative. Okay, b squared minus 4ac, 2a. All right, it's clear. It's good. Okay, we just wrote the same thing twice, and we've determined which one's going to be positive and which one's going to be negative. Okay. So now we start substituting our variables for what they actually mean, right? A is equal to 1, B is equal to negative 2, and C is equal to negative 5. So let's do that. Let's do that. Okay, so we're going to start out with this negative there. We're going to preserve it. And we're going to do a parentheses, okay, for B. So we're going to now put B is equal to negative 2, okay. All right. Now we're going to put the plus, square root. B was equal to negative 2 squared. We want to bring that squared, okay, minus 4. Where's our A? Right here. So 1. Okay, always make sure that in the beginning, at least, when you're replacing your variable terms here, that you put a parentheses in their place, right? And then you put the number which defines them, right? So here we have a negative 5. Okay. This will just make sure that you don't run into any sign errors. That you make sure that you preserve the signs that are outside, right? The ones that are already in the equation, and then the ones that are actually part of the definitions of these constant numbers, right? Yeah. These numbers, yeah, they're variables, but not now that they're defined, right? They're constants now. Okay. Yep. 2. Then our A was equal to 1. There we go. Now we do the same thing for the bottom. Okay, so we do negative 2. Rather than put plus, put a negative. Okay. Negative 2 squared minus 4. 1. Negative 5. There you go. 2, 1. There you go. We plug. That's what they call plug and chug. You know, we plugged in the numbers into the formula. We have the two versions of the formula, positive and negative, and now all that's left is plugging this into your calculator, computing it. Okay, so let's see. All right, so all right, 2, okay, plus. Let me go ahead and show you how I'm plugging this into the calculator, right? So, all right, it's visible. Okay, so, and make sure to put the square there. Minus 4 times 1. Literally, if you have one of these calculators, I love these calculators. You can just, the way you see it on the board, you can just plug it directly into there without having to do any tricks or anything. That like the way you see it is the way it goes into the calculator. -2, and then -4, and then 2, and then -5. Okay, that's what we get. Right? Let me go ahead and I get this exact number there. We get a square root of 6 plus 1. Okay. I like these calculators because they give you exact answers whenever they can. You know. So okay, so this x1 is equal to 6. The square root of 6 plus 1. Okay. Now we're gonna plug and chug and do it for this one as well. So okay, and over here, right? Because it's essentially the same form, there's the same equation, the same formula. You're just gonna go and all the way to this is all the way to that sign there, right? And you're just gonna make it a negative. There you go. That's the only difference between x1 and x2. Okay, so there you go. We have a negative square root of 6 plus 1. All right. There you go. And you know, if you want to see an approximation, like a decimal of this answer, like with these calculators, you can just hit this button here. And it gives you an approximation, right? And for this number here, right, it's approximated to be negative 1.45, right? And then for this top one, okay, we can the calculator can approximate it to be 3. Well, the calculator can approximate it to 9 digits, right? But I'm just going to round up here, right? So yeah, this right here would be your exact form. If you're going to continue to plug in this number into further computations, it's advisable to keep the fullest of your precision. This is the most precise version, the most precise output to this procedure, right? But you know, yeah, I mean, approximate it to 2 decimal values, and this is what you get. Okay. All right. I don't think that there's much to say about this one. This is a pretty good one. It's just a plug and chug type thing. Let me stand to the side. You can grab your notes, whatever. And 3, 2, 1. Okay. Alrighty, so that's let me write up here. Quadratic. Yeah, you know, a lot of the challenge with these types of calculations is actually remembering the formula, you know. But if you're able to remember it, then you can pretty much factor any quadratic equation to, you know, provided you want to do all this process, which, you know, it's not that arduous of a process. It's just if you mess up like one little thing, I mean, there you go. There goes your answer, right? But that's why you have the other factoring forms to make sure you're doing it right. The calculator also has a button to factor quadratic formulas. I might make a video about that and just chuck it in here. And again, it's another way of making sure your answers are good. Other than that, I mean, that was the quadratic formula of factoring technique video, part of the basic factoring technique. So, all right, good luck and Godspeed.